the Shen and Shan Show, where Shenice, my mom,
and Shan the Pan
interview with LGBTQ plus professionals and entrepreneurs.
So let's get giddy and start the show.
All right, guys. Welcome to the Shen and Shan Show. I'm Shan.
And I'm Shenice. We have amazing guests today. So excited to have them on, Hannah and Alia. We actually reached out to Hannah and Alia. I mean, they have just an amazing brand, social media, an amazing presence online, especially for our LGBTQ plus community. And I'm just so honored to be interviewing you two today, and just really curious to like dig in and really understand, like, oh my gosh, like where'd y'all come from and how'd you get here? Like, I'm so excited.
I was looking at your likes and I'm like, you're getting more likes than most celebrities.
Oh, no. You know how to engage.
Yeah.
No, it's amazing. I love your content. So please, if y'all would do us the honor of introducing yourselves, let us know all about you.
All right. Heck yeah. My name is Alia. I'm one half of Hersandhers. Let's see. I'm 30 years old. Up until very recently, I lived in New York for like 13 years. I went to acting school in New York. I've been on plenty of stages, film, TV, commercials, all that fun stuff. I am from Southern Alabama, the Bible Belt. I grew up and I went to Catholic school. I had to wear a skirt and everything. Definitely a high point in my life, that. But I am proud to be the black sheep and the outcast of my family. I am the gay cousin, you know. It's like, that's my weird gay cousin who lives in New York. I don't know what she does. Like, I think she's a vegan too. I don't know. That's totally me, and I absolutely love it. I wouldn't have it any other way. And Hannah and I met 5 years ago, and we fell in love pretty quickly. And
as lesbians tend to do.
Yeah, we'll have you do. That's exactly right. Yeah. And I'm a very proud dog mom too. I love Sadie Mae. She's a dappled dachshund. She is the cutest little wiener dog you've ever seen. We're not biased at all. No, not at all. So I too, like Alia, am from the Bible Belt. Alia's hometown is definitely a little more southern than mine, but I am from Asheville, North Carolina, which for some people that do know Asheville, it is a blue bubble in a red state. And I'm extremely proud to say that I'm from Asheville, not necessarily North Carolina, but Asheville, because I was very luckily raised in a community and a family that was open-minded and liberal and forward-thinking. And I always grew up with the notion that I could be and do whatever I wanted. I remember my dad saying that the only thing that I could do, that me or my brothers could ever do to hurt him or to disappoint him, was to hurt someone. So I have always remembered that and have kind of lived my life in a way where I'm just unapologetically myself. And I think that has transpired into our business, Hers and Hers, that we have now, where we talk a lot about mental health, we talk about LGBTQ topics, we discuss various social justice topics and activism. So we really use our brand as a tool for change in all sorts of different aspects. So that is the gist of who we are.
I think that motto, that value, that just hit my heart. Like that really hit home for me. I've never heard it put quite like that, but I would love to say that to my daughter. I'm like thinking in my head, oh my gosh, I want to say that to my daughter. That's what I want to tell Rain. Like, the only way you can ever disappoint me is if you hurt someone.
Yeah.
I love that way of thinking. I think that, I mean,
simple, so powerful.
It's so simple. Like with the real estate rebranding we just did, Shan loves this quote that says walk in love. And that's what we rebranded with. And I think that's more simplistic, but I just love the way your dad put it. I really love that. Like, the only way I'll be disappointed, it's not about things. It's not about achievement.
Right.
It's not about success. You know, that looks so different to so many people. Like, for example, people think they are at their ultimate if they are making maybe $1 million a year. You can ask Shan, like, I want no part of that. You can ask her. She would be about that life. But I'm kind of like, no, like, I just want to be like comfortable and happy. And, you know, that's more important to me.
It's also about what you do with if you had that.
Oh, of
money,
course.
right?
Of course. I'm not saying I can't be happy with it. Like, yeah, sure. If I made $1 million a year, I could be happy with it if I am doing right by it, if I'm affecting others in positive ways and stuff like, but it's just not like
what you already do.
Yeah. So I love that. I love that. Now, Hers and Hers, that's a brand. You have a podcast as well. Dive in a little bit deeper on that. How'd you start your brand? And
did you take 2 years to get it started like we did?
Actually, yeah. If it makes you feel better, absolutely. It's a funny story. So Hannah and I were on our first apartment together, but we had roommates, and it was like there's like 4 girls, and we were all loving it, having a good time, and you know, sharing each other's clothes, going into closets and stuff. And it started out as, you know, one of our friends were like, you guys aesthetically look really good together. You should start doing maybe like an outfit a day, like what you wear every day. Not that we were some sort of fashionistas or anything, but you know, it's New York. People think you're like weird cool or something. I don't know. And so
you have the vibe.
The vibe, right? It's a vibe. It's a vibe. So if you were to go down far enough in our Instagram, you will see, we were talking about. No, we deleted them. Oh, we did. Now I was going to say, you will see some, you said cringeworthy earlier, some cringeworthy photos of us just like up against the wall, like, you know.
Sure they weren't cringy.
Everything was #OOTD, outfit of the day. And that was our gist. Like, we wanted to be, I don't know, we wanted to be have the brand be about like expressing yourself through your clothes.
But I'd say before, at that point, it wasn't even a brand. It was for fun, and it was for fun. Hannah did a lot of modeling when she was younger, and in college and stuff, and so the camera loved her, and we took a lot of pictures together. And it was actually our friends who were like, you should catalog all those photos that you take together in one place, and that one place happened to be Instagram. And then that's sort of how it kind of happened.
Right. We started the Instagram and had like a few photos on there, just, you know, for keepsake and just to have it. And we didn't touch it for a year. Like it was, we had the handle and everything, but we didn't do anything with it until one day I distinctly remember laying on the couch in our first apartment, scrolling through, and I saw this couple and this lesbian couple, and saw that, like, wow, they have so many followers. They're working with these really cool brands. Look at all these opportunities that they're having. And it's all because they're doing the same thing that we could do. They're just taking it like to the next level.
Right.
Yeah. And I like said to you one day, I was like, why don't we should take it seriously? Why not? Let's do it. I mean, clearly, like, so our friends already think that we take good photos.
They saw it in you before you did. I mean, they're like, go do something.
He said that. I was like, okay.
Yeah. That's so great
idea.
that y'all are open-minded enough to like listen to the universe. Your friend like speaking into you, saying like, go do this. This is maybe your calling. It may not be, but it may be it, right? And a lot of us, you know, tend to be more like not closed-minded, but we're not open to all of those opportunities. A lot of us are like really quick to like shut it down or say, oh, I'm not good enough, or, you know what I'm saying? I love that y'all embraced it and we're like, yeah, we do look good, pretty good together. Let's give it a try.
Our friends were good hype women too.
Yeah.
We'll be like, just do it. Oh, do it. So I'll give them that credit.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So
love
I
that.
just,
Yeah.
when it comes to photos, I want to know the secret. Like, do y'all take a tripod everywhere you go, or you just have your iPhone, or you got an expensive camera? That's I want to know that secret.
Behind the scenes, your wheels are turning. You're like, how does this work? How does this work?
That's a fair question. To be honest, the first 2 years, we didn't even own a camera. We just used our iPhone for all of the photos. And I think it's fair to say that like photography is a big passion of mine. I would definitely not call myself a photographer, but I love photography. And the one thing that I would say is like the most important is light, and shooting in natural light is key, I think. Like we always try to shoot outdoors when we can. Even if it's raining, like even if the light is good, use the light to your advantage. And what was the other thing I was gonna say?
Light, your angle.
Well, I mean, knowing your angles is really important too.
And we do have, now many years later, we do have a really nice Canon camera. We have a really crappy tripod, but even we're gonna get a new one very soon here, but even that makes all the difference,
Mm-hmm.
And it has a timer on it, and it has an app that we can connect to our phone, so we can see on our phone what the photo will look like, and then we can click it from there. But that's always a huge question. People are like, you just have photographers following you around? It's like, no, we're those people who put a tripod in the middle of the street and take photos and have other people look at it. It's like, what the heck's going on here? Like,
Or we
I
just
love
have
it.
to bite our cheek and like literally go out into the middle of an intersection, or like in front of a building where it's busy out, and we're like, yeah, people are staring at us, but we got to get the shot, so let's do it.
That's awesome.
So no, we don't have a photographer that follows us around.
Unfortunately.
And no, you don't have to have a fancy camera to be successful. Like I said, the first 2 years are all on our iPhone, and we also had friends that would take photos of us. But no, I mean, the secret, I think, is just consistency. And, it's easy to think, oh, I need to pose for this picture and look really nice. But I think the key is also to just like laugh about how goofy you feel taking the photo. And I think that inevitably shines through.
Yeah. No, that's
Right?
amazing.
Yeah.
I think that, a lot of people want to be some sort of influencer or put some type of content out there, and they're second guessing themselves, or they're thinking you're not able to do it, or that they'll never get to a certain following. But you know what? Everyone that has gotten to the level they are, with the exception of maybe celebrities, everyone who is like, quote unquote, a normal person, someone who is not in the limelight all the time, they can do it. Like I've seen tons of videos of people who they used an iPhone or their phone exclusively for their photos, and they have apps, and there's so many things that can enhance that. But it's like what y'all said, consistency. That is truly the key. And that's the key with anything in business, in my opinion, is consistency. Focus and keep putting the content out there. Do y'all know who Gary Vaynerchuk is? Gary V?
Oh, I used to work at VaynerMedia, his advertising company. Yeah.
Wow.
Interned there the summer after my junior year of college.
And your brother used to work there too, right?
Yeah, my brother used to work there. So
That's awesome.
yeah, I know Gary and his brother. So yes, I know.
That
Gary
is
Vaynerchuk.
awesome. Well, I read his book, Crushing It. I've seen his videos. He curses a little bit too much for me, but that's okay. I give him a pass, because I really do like his stuff, like what he says, and I don't think he's as gassed up as some of the other people out there who are trying to, coach or whatever it is that they're trying to do. But I really loved his point. It's all about content creation. You see where he started out with his family's wine business, making boring videos about wine, and like nobody wanted to watch, and he blew up. Consistency, content creation, make the content. Probably some content is better than no content. You'll evolve over time, and it seems like y'all have seen that. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. I think that's definitely fair to say.
And that's also not to say that we don't have days where we're like, well, I got nothing. I got no ideas for captions. I I can't think of any place to take photos, no topics for podcasts. We definitely have those days. So I don't want to like sugarcoat it and like have people think that, oh, it comes easily, it comes naturally. Like it is consistency, it's hard work, and even we have days where we're just like, got nothing, but you still just gotta chug.
But even then, it's like, okay, well, people follow us because they have we give them something and they're expecting that, and we need to honor that. And so often we'll be like, yeah, we might not have anything to talk about, but we haven't said anything in 3 days, and I think like it's our duty to share. And so we'll be like, you know what? That's okay. We can just write a simple little something and let's just be honest. Transparency is key. So let's just tell our audience that we're not feeling inspired.
I love that.
More.
Yeah, and it goes back to like, I think you two are so real, and that's truly the key thing that I would say attracted me to you two. Like, y'all are so real, which I feel like in the world that we live in, which I think it's starting to change. I feel like I crave that, because all too often we're seeing something that's not real, especially on social media. A lot of people, are only posting the absolute best.
Yeah.
Not even just okay or good. No, like the absolute best, only the highest of the high moments. And I love that y'all are transparent and you feel comfortable saying like, you know what, I'm not really that inspired,
Yeah.
And I'm one of those that I was trapped in that mindset where it had to be perfect. Because if you look at my road
and
trip
it depends
page,
on and I think we should talk about that. Perfect. What does that mean?
Right.
Maybe perfect is being transparent and real,
Right.
Like, who makes these rules?
Right. So I'm trying to wash my brain of those things and just be okay with myself, how I look on camera, because I feel like, I'm not a camera photogenic person at all. So
I disagree.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, you both are incredibly good looking. Yeah, everyone loves you. You have great skin. Like, you're good.
Yeah,
you're good.
Thank you.
True.
But I mean, and I hear that a lot, but it's also how you internalize things. So I'm working on those things, and I want people out there to know that a lot of people struggle with that, and it's okay that you struggle with that. Just try to find a way to get out of that darkness, because it is a dark space that you can get yourself out of. And so I'm glad that we're hearing you guys say that on the podcast, and me talking about it myself on here. So yeah.
And I'm gonna call you out a little bit, Hannah, but Hannah is a self-proclaimed perfectionist, and even you will have days where I kind of have to like tell her, be like, look, you've done your best. I think this caption's great. Don't work on it anymore. Like, this is the best. This is what you got right now. Put it out there. I have to sometimes kind of just put my hand on her shoulder to be like you're good enough. It doesn't. Who holds? What are these standards? Who's making these rules, as you said?
Yeah.
And and who are we scared of, right? If you have followers that absolutely hate that, bye. Like, block.
Yeah, we don't
need that energy. This is not what our brand is about either, right? I'm including myself.
So if you're
in y'all
listening,
brand.
it's all about vibes, right? You only want to attract the vibes that's going to make you happy. It's going to bring you positivity. It's going to be peaceful.
Easier said than done, though, because we have those I think we all do, really. You want it to be perfect, because I mean, you have the world. Well, we don't have the world looking, but I mean,
it feels like it.
It feels like you have a lot of people looking, and a lot of people can be critical, but I just don't care. I'm just like, there's nothing. Some people just really want to find something wrong and something to nag on, or whatever the case may be. But
they will do that
hurt people,
no matter what.
What was that?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, and they will do that no matter how perfect you think your caption or your photo is. Like, there will always be people that have something to say, and the truth of the matter is that you can't please everyone.
Right.
And not only that, I also feel like if people have to say something negative, that's something deep rooted within themselves that they need to fix.
Yeah,
most definitely. Now, for your business, so you have the Hers and Hers brand. How is it that you have created this brand that is your living? How do you make your money? What is it that feeds your family?
That's a fair question. I think a lot of people have this question. Well, it really all comes down to brand deals. We and partner programs. So we get an email from a brand that wants to work with us, and more often than not, it's a brand that we align with and we appreciate their message, and we want to work with them. So it depends on what the brand is and if it's a campaign, a long-running campaign or not. Sometimes it'll just be a holiday campaign and we only have to post once, and then it's a net 30 and we get paid 30 days from when we have posted. And sometimes it's, hey, we want you to post 3 stories on this date, and then in 2 weeks, and then 2 weeks from that date. And then once that all wraps up, we get paid. So it varies, really. It varies on the brand and what they want, and whether they want a post, an in-feed post, or a number of stories.
Right.
So that's a part of it. And the other part is commission deals.
Right.
So we'll have a brand reach out to us and be like, hey, we want to give you this product, and for every person who uses your link to get themselves this product, you'll get, let's say, 10% of the sale or something like that. So that's another way. That's not our favorite way to make money, to be quite honest with you, but it is one of the ways.
Right.
And the thing about it is people think that just because you take a picture and you put it up, that you're making money based off of that photo, and it doesn't when there's no brand deal, and that's not the case. But what you have to do is you have to build a following, and you have to have a good message, and you have to have a good profile for brands to even consider you. That there's a lot of legwork that has to happen before people even look at your profile and say, oh, I'll pay them to promote our product. Mm-hmm. So people think that you get paid like every time you post a picture, and that's not the case.
Right.
And it's kind of a double-edged sword, because I know personally when I am going through Instagram, just as a viewer, just scrolling through Instagram, I'm guilty of, if someone has a paid partnership post, if I glance at it and I'm not interested in the product, I won't even read it. I'll just keep scrolling.
Right.
And so I know that people do that with us.
Yeah.
And it's a double-edged sword, because while that's the only way that we get paid, we also don't want to be inauthentic and just be like promotion, because that's not really why people are there. They're there to see the real versions of us and not a paid advertisement.
And I think that would impact your engagement too, right? So if you only did promotion, I mean, your likes would go way down. Your people wouldn't see that true the brand that you've built, right? But I think that it's important to understand, like, okay, how could your followers support you more? Like, what is it that they could do to support you more, so that they know, like, hey, we're not making $1 million a year off of this. Like, we're starving, but we love you.
Yeah. And that very much is the case where, we have done a brand deal with a brand, and we always, it's usually part of the contract that we send our insights to them 24 to 48 hours afterwards, so they can see, how the campaign went, and if it's worth them working with us again, and what that looks like going forward. And so if we have a lot of engagement and our audience interacting with that post, that in the long run is really helpful for us, and then in the long run is even more helpful for our audience, because we are offering them something that they can get a discount on, or that might help them. So it is very much a double-edged sword, like Alia said, because it can feel like your Instagram is just oversaturated with ads, but at the same time, like, this is our only job. Right. Other than our podcast, this is where we make our bread and butter. So,
and a lot of our followers do get that. Like, a lot of them are really nice about it and will engage with us and click, and they understand that this is, what we have to do. But that doesn't mean that people aren't nasty and they're like, oh, another paid partnership. You know what I mean? So it can be a tough balance.
Yeah.
So how many times a day are you guys maybe posting to promote a business?
Or maybe a week. It could be a week. Yeah.
It depends. It depends. It's usually not on our watch. It's on the campaign's watch. Mm-hmm. And right about now, a lot of holiday campaigns are coming in. But let's say they're a holiday campaign for Christmas or Hanukkah or Diwali or anything like that, that will go live. We'll post that in November, so people can click, they can purchase by the time Christmas rolls around.
Yeah,
that makes sense. So it's rarely on our schedule. Rarely do we get to be like, oh, we'll divide it up. We'll do one here. We'll sprinkle in another here. Often, for example, the deals that we have that are commission based, we decide. Yeah. So if we know that we have a sponsored post going up one day, then we make sure not to post like for a day or two later another one. So we try to space them out as much as possible, but like Alia said, oftentimes it's not on our terms. Of course, when there are things going on in the world, like at the height of the Black Lives Matter movement over the summer, we had some brand deals in the works, and we were like, hey, I know this is what the contract says, but we're not comfortable posting because this is just not important right now.
Right.
And so brands, you can work with them, to push dates and stuff. And same with now, we've had to push a few dates because of the election. So it's nice because usually you can go back and forth and find a flexible date between you and the brand, but most of the time, these are the dates that they want, and we have to post accordingly.
But that's a good point, because at the end of the day, like if it doesn't do well on our end, it's not going to do well for them, right? So why would they want to post?
Of course.
Great time, like at the height of the BLM movement or something like that,
Right.
Of course.
It doesn't work for either party. So
Yeah.
100%. Now, on the Black Lives Matter movement, I'd like to, two things before we move on to our next section. I would love to learn some more about the podcast. And I saw that y'all have Black Voices Matter, a segment on your show called Black Voices Matter. I'd love to get more details on that. And then I would just love to just know from your brand as a whole, after we get through that, what do you want for your fans, your followers? What's the goal? What's the purpose? So, we could really dig into the root of it. What are you growing off of? And, what do you want in the future now? Where have you come from? But anyways, Black Voices Matter. I thought that was really amazing that you guys carved out a segment, like a whole series on your podcast. So I'd love for y'all to talk a little bit about that.
which one do you want to say?
Well, my initial reaction after hearing you say it's amazing that you guys did this was, is it though? Because yeah, we are white and naturally we have white privilege, but at the same time, we are also content creators or quote influencers, and we have a duty to use our platform in ways other than promoting whatever brand it is that we're working with at the time. So there really wasn't any question about it. I mean, it felt right, and the whole exactly, our whole shtick has always been to create a safe space for whoever to come and feel like they can be themselves. And we did that on our Instagram, and that was the purpose of the podcast as well. And so yeah, there really wasn't any question about it. It felt so important to be talking about and to be using our platform for that. It just made sense. And yeah, I mean, it gave us even more of a purpose in a time where we felt like there was only so much we could do. That makes sense.
And I say we see it as amazing because you didn't have to do it, right? And you actually took the initiative to do it. And just coming from someone from the Black community, I mean, that really makes my heart warm because of all the negative that we see about the Black community. To see another race, especially a race that is known to do the opposite, is very touching for us, and we love it. And it's sometimes, I mean, it kind of brings tears to your eyes sometimes because we don't expect it, right?
But we need allies, just like we need allies in the LGBTQ plus community. We need allies as Black people. We need allies, and sometimes, I mean, you guys need allies too sometimes, because there are negative stigmas just period, like about everything.
Right.
So we all need allies. We just need to be more unified. And my point in saying that it's amazing is because, you know what, you guys have a great following, but there are a lot of people out there that have a much larger following and they haven't done anything.
That's exactly right. We felt like when you have a voice and you have followers, it's your duty to use it for good. Otherwise, you're using it for bad. Like if you're not using it for good, just by not saying anything is not great.
You're just by not saying anything, you're being complicit, and being complicit is exactly the problem.
It's exactly the problem. And there's a great quote. I don't know where it stems from, but that Hannah and I say often, where it's no longer okay to be not racist. You have to actively be anti-racist. And we thought, okay, what does that look like for us? And it manifested itself in the way of an interview series on our podcast, but it also it was a very big learning curve for us because we have to do more. We have to be actively anti-racist, and we just went about our whole lives not really doing that, like just not being racist was never enough, but that's what we thought. And so it's a huge, like we've learned so much just by interviewing people of the Black community, all sorts of artists, educators. Like we've learned so much, and we can say that like, wow, we absolutely did use our white privilege for so long without even knowing it. And so it's really a learning curve for us too, to know how to take that out into the world.
Yeah, and we're learning as well too, because also too, you got to think about it. A lot of people say that they have their, companies, let's just say companies, are diverse and inclusive. But when you look at their board or anybody in higher power, it's all one race and no LGBT or anything. And I'm just like, how you can't just say it. You have to also
embody it.
Right.
Like,
you have to, know. And the thing is, I don't want to misconstrue is that we want people to like be I think I had someone write me on my Facebook and said I wouldn't say real good friend of mine, but someone that I consider a friend, and he's white, and he's right. He was like, I don't want to have to be sorry or feel guilty for being white. And we had to have that conversation broken down. I was like, no, I don't want you to feel sorry. Like, that's not what I'm, when I make my status or whatever I say, like, so we had a conversation about it. And I think we both had an understanding afterwards what we meant by it, because I don't want anybody to feel guilty for being who they are. So also,
or just boxed in with a bunch of different people, right? I don't like boxes. I don't like to, well, you can call me different things. I'm fine with that. But, I don't like to say that one race, one group of people, one community does one thing. I don't like that. But I think what's important is that, well, we just need to understand each other better, because the fact that he would even, come out and say, I don't want to have to feel guilty. Nobody's trying to make you feel guilty. We're trying to bring the truth forward of what has been and what is presently now. And what are you doing about that?
And even for us, I mean, there's things for the Black community that we have to work on and not have our prejudice against as well.
And that's why I say everybody needs allies, because we all need to open the lines of communication, and we all need to move forward together. We all need to learn from each other, even in the Black community. I mean, I am Jamaican. I was born in Jamaica. I was raised in New York, but I'm Jamaican. Like, I'm trapped in that culture. I didn't really, I just,
we are totally different when it comes to
so different. Things. Yeah, she's a country girl, and
I love it.
I guess, I don't know if I'm a city girl really, but I just,
You're Jamaican girl.
I've been moving around my whole life, and we're different. Like, even coming down to like the one thing that we fight a lot about is like respect. Like, she'll say something and I'll be like, that's disrespectful. And she'll be like, how is that disrespectful?
Actually, right before we started recording or got home with you guys, I had my hand here. And
between the chairs,
and she pushed the chair over, and I was like, "Oh my!" And she was like, "Hush!" And I was just like, "Why are you telling me to hush? That hurts."
She was like, "Don't tell me hush." I was like, "Hush means like I'm sorry, or like poor baby, like hush, hush." But
Didn't know that.
to her, that was
like, be quiet.
I was like, "Shut up!" No.
Yeah. start using hush in that sense.
And my family will even tell her, like, they're like, yeah, Hush is like, oh, poor baby, like,
Right.
but
Yeah.
she interpreted it as like, shut up, and I was like,
Yeah, of course.
Oh, that's
cute.
so funny.
I love it.
so we have breakdown just for the simple fact, like, look, we're all from different upbringings, different parts of the country, different parts of the world, different cultural background, different belief systems. So we just have to, I think, move forward with being more open-minded, understanding, walk in love. Exactly.
That's right.
Ask questions if you really want to know. Like, I'm not going to be upset. Shame on the people who are upset when people ask questions, because if they're asking questions, it's an opportunity to educate. Now, it may not be your job to educate, but maybe you can point them to some resources that can help them do that, or give them some advice on how to find the information. But I love educating, and I think that we should all be lifelong learners, as academically, business-wise, personally, professionally, development-wise. It's just, it's
I'm rubbing her shoulder like, okay, baby, let's move to the next subject.
We've actually had 2 other guests on our podcast who have both said the same thing, both from the Black Voices Matter series, both being members of the Black community, who have said, I would rather you ask me than assume and then get up and preach like you know what you're talking about. And it makes sense. But, and I think I do feel like maybe it's because people are scared of their own ignorance that they implicitly have, having been raised in a system that is systematically racist. But, you know, it really is just ask questions, talk about it, because if you don't, then again, you're just complicit, and then it remains the status quo.
Yeah.
And it's not even just about color. It's also even about sexuality, right? Because we have the same thing when it comes to LGBT community. You know, even me, I'm learning, you know, the they and them. That's something that I'm, you know, I don't struggle with it. I understand it. It's just, I feel so bad if I actually call them she or her, or him, or, you know, he. So I'm even learning that and how not to offend someone. So I just think if you talk to somebody and ask them what do they want or what do they expect, and don't feel, I don't know if people feel like they're inferior to someone because they have to ask those things or ask about their feelings,
or just scared, because
And-
I think the way sometimes media portrays a lot of things, there's a lot of violence, a lot of just kind of the stark, like, far end of the spectrum, when most people aren't violent or, you know, any of those things. So I think some people are just scared, or they're embarrassed.
And I'm not going to get on my rant, but I also think a lot of religion has a lot to play in a lot of
definitely. I mean, a lot of religion has, I mean, religion, it seems like, has been run by a lot of closed-minded individuals and groups of people, and it has turned it into something that does not create this unified world that we are wanting to get towards. Most of us, I feel like, want to be going towards that. But yeah, I would say that it definitely has impacted us, and we're trying to unwind some of those, you know, I don't know, like those things that they've intertwined us in, and the belief systems that we've had ingrained for generations.
Like hardwired,
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we get out of those by asking questions, by having conversations just like this one. I mean, just putting the realness out there. It's really important. I mean, it really is. So I love the work that you two are doing. I love your podcast, your brand, everything that it stands for is exactly, I think it embodies at least Shan and I's values, and I love it. I'm respectful of those who don't have the same values, but I hope that we do get to another place where we are more open-minded, at least, or, you know, just crack people's minds a little bit more open.
Yeah.
This show is supported by the Empower Team, your queer real estate professionals. Based in the Houston, Texas area, we can help you buy, sell, lease, or invest in Houston real estate. if you're not in the Houston area but want to start or add affordable rental properties to your portfolio, we'd love to help. And if you're looking for homes in your own area, we can still help you find an LGBTQ plus friendly real estate agent, a service we provide for free. Please reach out to us at homes@empowerteamtx.com. That's HOMES at EMPOWERTEAMTX.com.
Really.
I think the whole thing is to get uncomfortable. Like, let's just all get a little more uncomfortable.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%. What were we watching? We've been watching David Letterman and his little interviews on Netflix. Have y'all watched that at all? So,
I mean, I have, but haven't seen an episode.
so I don't know anything about this guy. I have no clue.
She didn't know who Howard Stern was.
Yeah, I have no clue. But Shan said she wanted to. There's an episode that features Barack Obama. There's an episode with Kim Kardashian, I think. There's a bunch of them, but we haven't gotten there yet. So I said, if Shan wants to watch it, let me just start from the beginning, like season 1. Let me start watching these interviews. And Howard Stern was actually the guest I'm referencing because I don't know where he's from, if his background was Irish and something else. Anyways, he was raised, his parents were pretty open-minded. Like he can talk.
Like you say your parents were.
Right.
Actually.
But like next level, like he can talk about sex with his mom.
Oh, yeah.
He can there's nothing off limits almost.
Well,
and
if it's any kids listen to this, don't listen. But he asked his mom, does she gets it up the butt?
Yeah, that's a next level relationship right there.
He was like a radio talk show host. So he probably did it, he was kind of out there, he's going to test the limits. So, but regardless, it's like, why can't we talk openly about a lot of these things? Why can't we just talk openly about sex?
Yeah. I wasn't allowed.
Why is that such or our periods or like,
why is so taboo?
Getting all passionate.
Yeah.
See, I have to rub her back because she's like,
whatever.
She's passionate about something.
I love it.
I love the passion.
So, yeah. We can feel it coming through.
It's serious. Like, who made these rules? That's my whole like motto lately. It's like, who made these rules? Why can't we talk? Why can't we say vagina without feeling weird about it?
Right.
I know.
It's just crazy what those things that are like hardwired, like we were saying. And it's I love that Howard Stern's parents were like, it was like he said that he wanted for his 13th birthday a Playboy magazine. And his mom was like, yeah, the Playboy magazine is no problem, but I want you to know that that's not what real women look like. Real women look like me and your mom.
Yes.
Like, but I can get you the magazine. That's no problem.
Yeah.
Like, and I love that. I'm like,
because I mean, he's a 13-year-old boy. He'll find it anyway.
Yeah,
but what's important is that you know that this is not a woman. This is not an average woman.
I'm a little bit older than you guys, but I remember, people used to call him a freak, and he was just like this bad person you don't want to listen to. But after I watched that interview, because I never just really sat down and just got to know who he was, but watching that interview, he's a really kind-hearted, sweet guy that just doesn't have a filter, and it shouldn't be a problem.
he doesn't have a filter, and he has views that are opposite of those that are conservative, the norms too. Yeah. So but it's really interesting.
I'll have to watch it. Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
So back to Hers and Hers. What does the future of Hers and Hers look like? And what do y'all want for the brand?
What do we want for the brand?
Yeah, what does the future look like? Yeah, tell us all about that.
Well, I know that I for Sadie,
She's attached to us. Can't do anything with her. Sadie, say hi.
So I can speak for both of us when I say nothing brings us greater joy and knowing that we have done our job than when we get a message from some queer kid somewhere in the world or somewhere in the country who cannot be themselves because they live in an unaccepting environment or an unaccepting country. Like that it could be
where they can be killed for who they are.
You know? And when they reach out to us and say, my gosh, like, I hope one day I can have a love like that, and I wish that I could come out with my parents, and, you know, we message them back and just send them so much love and let them know that it may seem like you're alone, but you're not alone. Like, look at us, look at you guys, look at all the other queer people out there. Like, it's okay, and it will get better.
Okay.
So anytime we had any messages like that, or even just a hey, thank you. You know, I'm a high schooler, and I'm not ready to come out yet, but seeing you guys gives me a little bit more strength. That is worth all of it. You know, that is why we do what we do, quite honestly, because to spread that message to other queer kids out there that it does get better, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And if we have one person message us that, then I feel like job well done. Like, that makes me feel like everything, all the hardships have been worth it. So that's why, you know, I think that's really what kind of keeps us going. And we have a duty to these young queer kids out there.
Yeah.
And I think for the future, we would love to be able to do this 100% full time. You know, we don't really have a choice. We're doing it full time right now, but, you know, it's a weird world. No one else really has other jobs. But to be able to do it full time and to do more traveling with our brand, take our brand to other countries that are gay friendly, to go and seek those out, travel there, and just go full time with it, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. To kind of piggyback on what you said earlier, you know, the being able to touch people across the world, across the country, across the state that we wouldn't otherwise is really important. And at least for me, I didn't have anyone that looked like me in the media when I was confused. And so, you know, what I mean is that, like, I'm straight passing, I'm femme, people would see me and wouldn't immediately think, oh, she's a lesbian. And so for me, representation really matters, and I want to be that representation for so many other young, confused women. So that is, you know, that's what keeps me, like, in this and wanting to make it what I do every day. And yeah, hopefully we just plan to continue doing our Instagram. We've been having a lot of fun on TikTok, which has been
I haven't seen your TikTok. Yeah, I gotta check that out.
I haven't.
We're actually like kind of grandmas when it comes to TikTok. We don't know how to
love it.
edit it.
Yeah, we're not the best at it, but it's fun.
It's fun. And
You
we
wasn't
really
the best at Instagram when you first started, right? That's what you said, right?
Oh yeah,
But I'm sure they're way better than what we would be.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No.
It's tough. The kids really have it down. Like,
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Don't get me
Like,
wrong. I'm sure I can give my like little brother or sister, and they oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
I was gonna say, I'm sure your 9-year-old, soon to be 10-year-old,
Oh my God.
knows everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
She's
She can
crazy.
blow you
Like,
guys
she's
up.
like
There you go.
animating video, like drawings, like animations, like she's doing all of that, and like she's
Incredible.
crazy. She's
really-
Wow.
I take my hat off. I'm
really
like,
smart. It's
that's
scary.
great. Yeah,
Oh, that's
great.
amazing.
That's great.
I love that.
she's brilliant. But no, that sounds amazing. Love it. I think that y'all are already or have been seeing all the rewards for all the content that you put out there, and it's necessary. It's needed. There is a gap especially in our community, for that like that inspirational content. Don't get me wrong, there is plenty out there, but it's not enough. I mean, we're just flooded with just kind of not fake stuff, but more materialistic, more
Yeah.
you know, it's just not real life. And
Okay.
seeing you two just doing your thing, it's amazing. Like, it's just
so natural.
and everything that you're
guys.
doing, like, you know, making sure that you're turning your attention to some of the crucial issues that are out there. I mean, that's huge too. Like, everything on top of each other. What y'all are doing is amazing. So we're going to
Thank you.
transition. Yeah, of course.
All right.
So you're obviously out in your business. So we were going to
Yeah.
ask you that. So we going to ask them.
You kind of messed up my intro.
I was perfect intro. They're obviously out in their business. So
Are you out in your personal life?
Yeah.
are, absolutely. We are very out and proud.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Everyone in our personal life follows us on Instagram or knows that our handle is hers and hers, so it kind of goes without saying that we are.
Yeah.
But yeah, we are 100%.
So kind of talk to me about each of you, your coming out stories. Like, how old were you? Were you scared? Were your family accepting when you first came out? So let's talk a little bit about that.
Okay. I'll go first because mine's like a little more lengthy. I definitely always knew that I was different, and I didn't know gay was the term and that's what that meant until like I was a little bit older. But I definitely always was intrigued by girls and wanted them to really also find me intriguing. And I was also the more tomboy-y of my group, you know, when we would act things out, I would always want to be the football player instead of the cheerleader, and I wanted to be Danny instead of Sandy and stuff like that, you know? So it's always been very obvious to me. But I didn't officially come out until I was like 14. So I was like a freshman in high school, and I had my very first girlfriend, and we had only ever kissed and stuff, nothing like more than that. But we would write little love letters to each other in school and stuff, and it was like really cute. And her mom ended up finding one of those letters, and her mom ended up contacting my mom. And it was a whole thing. Me and my mom had to go over to their house, and we had like a sit down around the table talk. And her mom was like, "What's this? What's this note? What does this mean?" And of course, I was like looking at the floor the whole time, so nervous and so scared. And we definitely lied. We were like, "Oh, those are song lyrics, duh." And my mom was like, "Well, if they're song lyrics, why are there no quotes around it?" I'll never forget that. And
Okay, punctuation, please.
Yeah, okay, grammar, please, exactly. So I don't exactly remember. Yeah. So I don't exactly remember how like that conversation ended, but the next thing I have a memory of is me and my mom being in her car in their driveway, having just exited this very uncomfortable situation. And my mom looked at me and she was like, "Is this real? Or were you guys together? Like, is this something that you want to tell me?" And I just kind of broke down and cried. And I was in the passenger seat, she's in the driver's seat. So over the console, she's like hugging me. And I think my mom maybe thought maybe it was a phase, maybe that I was going to grow out of it. She never really said that to me, but I did have to come out maybe again, like a few years later when I was like maybe a sophomore or a junior in high school, once I was a little bit older and I was a little more comfortable and I really understood better. And I was like, "Yeah, this is my real girlfriend, blah, blah, blah." And she was like, "Okay, so you're gay." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm gay." And then it was just like I never had like another coming out to my whole family. It wasn't like, "Okay, everyone gather around, I have an announcement to make." It was just, I lived my life.
Right.
And it was very obvious to everyone, like, "Oh, okay, she's gay." Right. Without me having to be like, "Everyone sit down, let's talk about this," you know? I just lived my life, I was myself, and it was obvious that I was not like everyone else.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my coming out story. I didn't really get to choose it, but it was very simple in comparison to other people, and I'm very fortunate for that.
Awesome. I love that your mom comforted you and
Yeah.
she knew something was up. Like she had that intuition, like, "Y'all were lying in there. Just tell me the truth." Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
And she knew, like, she was the one who dressed me up in bows and dresses, and I would always put up a fight. I wanted pants. So, like, she knew, you know?
Oh,
Yeah.
That's so sweet. So, and your mom or your family, were they pretty open-minded all the time? Like growing up and everything? They were, okay.
Yeah, they were pretty open-minded.
In Alabama?
So my family's from Mobile, Alabama, which is relatively liberal when you consider Alabama. I mean, definitely, I still wouldn't feel comfortable, like, Hannah and I hold streets downtown, or hold hands, like, downtown and stuff, but it's still Alabama, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like a New York vibe. So she was as accepting as I think she knew how to be. Oh, and to be fair, this is a thing. She was a young single mom. I think she was 18. She she was young, she was hip, and I was always surrounded by a lot of her friends, like other young adults, and I had a lot of aunts and uncles. I had she had a lot of gay friends, and so those are my aunts and uncles. So she was a lot more hip because she was young, I had young friends.
That makes
so
sense.
I'll give her that. Maybe if she was a little bit older, it wouldn't have gone the way that it did. But I think because she was young and she had all these hip friends, that it was a lot easier.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What about you, Hannah?
Well, I always, like Alia said, I always knew that I was different because I actually heard, I think it was Fortune Femster on her stand-up special. We just watched it 2 nights ago. She said, yeah, I was a tomboy when I was a kid, AKA a young lesbian.
Yeah.
And I related with that so hard. I was such a tomboy growing up. I was raised with 2 older brothers. So I was constantly, I played basketball for 11 years. I swam, I did softball. Like I was always active and always just kind of a tomboy. And I do remember having like a distinct sort of realization in the locker room in middle school where we were changing for gym class and I caught myself staring at the girls like half dressed and I was like, oh my God, I like tranced. I was in a trance and I had to like bring myself back. And I never realized what was going on until way later in life when I added up that moment plus so many other like small signals to myself throughout my life that I realized that, maybe I'm not straight, but I did date guys throughout college and it never felt right. Like I dated them because that's just what you did. And my girlfriends were dating guys and that's just what you did. And like I said, it never clicked. It never felt right. And when I met Alia, actually, I had called my parents. We were in Harlem, and I was sitting in the parking lot of where I was subletting. And I
just moved to New York like 2 weeks
earlier. 2 weeks earlier, and I was freshly heartbroken from a relationship with a woman who my mom knew about, my dad knew about, but they never really asked questions. They were just like, oh, okay, so who are you dating? And I was like, well, actually, her name is this. And they were like, oh, okay, cool. They never really asked questions. They just were like, okay, this is someone that you love, fine. And that kind of same thing happened with Alia when I called my mom, and it's like kind of cringe to say it out loud now, but I called my mom. I was like, Mom, how did you know when Dad was the one? Because I think I just met my person. And she asked me, oh, what's his name? And I said, well, her name is Alia. And when I said that, she was just like, oh my God, tell me about her. And that was
wow, it was so natural.
So natural.
Yeah,
so beautiful.
Yeah, there was no family meeting. There was no, Mom, I'm confused. It was just.
And to your family's credit, her brothers did the same thing when I met them, or when you told them, like they weren't like, oh, you're dating a girl, you're gay, like none of that. It was like, cool.
Yeah, because I think in some sense, my family realized at the same time I did. I had dated guys previously, and they knew of the guys that I dated. All like just because that was the thing to do. But then,
what's that?
Feminine guys? Were they kind of feminine?
Feminine guys?
No, they weren't.
Pretty?
Yeah, they were pretty. Yeah,
there it is.
They're pretty, but feminine, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've dated guys. So Shan hasn't. She doesn't. Never has. Yeah.
Yeah, she hasn't either. But that, I mean, honestly, I think like having been with guys is what made me even more sure that I was not supposed to be with guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, my family, I think it's fair to say, figured out around the same time that I did that, that all of my, mental health issues, feel like having depression and anxiety and going through all of these trials that I did through high school and college made sense when I realized, oh, okay, this is who I am. And it all came through fruition at once.
So you believe that your depression, your anxiety pretty much stemmed from not knowing who you truly were. Am I getting that kind of right? And what would you say?
Yeah, I think that's very fair to say. I just remember high school being like one huge long marathon of feeling so confused and sad and just kind of going through the motions, but still never feeling like myself and having genuine emotions.
And I think that's even more power to what you both are building as a brand, because I mean, now people have yet another great couple who they can say, wait, that's what I'm feeling. That's what I want to be like. That's what I aspire. That's my story. Or I know that part of my story is like so similar. And it's just like you say, like, it will get better. You two are just, the epitome of that. It will get better. And to even be so open and transparent, right, about the just all the mental health awareness that needs to be out there, and how to process through that and how you work through that. I love that you have integrated mental health into what you do, because it's so important, and there still is not enough emphasis on it. We need so much more.
Yeah, and I believe in discernment, and I feel like I have discernment. I was blessed with that, and I usually can tell, even though she said I'm wrong a lot of the times, when people have good energy about them, or they're good people and just want to help people, and give their shirt off their backs for other people. And I definitely, even though we haven't met in person, but just speaking with you guys today, definitely know that. And I feel like I say that to a lot of our guests, simply because I feel like that's what we attract as well.
Yeah,
totally. Yeah.
And
I feel the same way about you too.
Yeah, I feel so comfortable here.
Yeah.
Like, I think we would have a great night on.
Oh yeah.
Definitely. And just to be clear, I don't tell Shan that she's just wrong. Okay. I don't tell her she's wrong. I pick up on energy too. I don't think I usually have a very clear picture, because I really try not to make rash assumptions. I really try my best not to do that. So typically, if I'm telling Shan, like, you could be wrong, it's just like, have them prove themselves, have them prove what they are. And let's be cautious, whatever it may be, let's just be cautious. And why are you smiling like that?
I am cautious, but if somebody give me a dark side, or I can see it or feel it, I'm going with that.
I feel the same way.
Hannah is the same way. She has like a sixth sense with people. Like, she will call it, and then 6 months later, whatever she calls happens. It's wild how some people are so in tune. It sounds like you guys are similar in that way.
Right. But my thing is, and that's fine, I'm okay with that.
I know.
And I'm just and I'm just like, okay, well, if that comes out, then it is what it is. I've prepared myself mentally for it, so I'm not going to go overly invested in someone or something.
Let me tell you this: if she has a bad feeling about someone the first time, I know it's bad. So I'm just like, okay, let's just not even go that way, So she doesn't say that a lot, but if she has the inkling, or she kind of hesitant about it, I'm like, okay, well, this is not good.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, well, you ready for some rapid questions?
Well,
you had another question. Okay, go ahead.
We gotta know how you guys met.
Oh my God, of course.
Oh, we met on Tinder.
Did you?
We did.
Wow, that's
awesome. Yeah, we did.
Yeah. And fun fact, it was both of our first times ever using a dating app, and it was the first date that we went to on the dating app, and we both secretly, without telling the other, deleted the app after meeting each other.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
That's
I know.
It's meant to be. As long as we
so
get
funny.
a wedding invitation, okay? So now,
you got it.
Hannah, I want to go back because you did say something. I know y'all have a hard time, but
We're going to speed through the
You
wrap-up
said
questions.
you called your mom and asked your mom. How did she know she was in love with your dad, or your dad was the one? When did y'all realize, like, this is who I want to be with?
Well, the second that I saw Alia, I knew there was something different about her. So I was extra aware and just like kind of enamored by her. But I think it was probably like 2 days in, and Alia was bartending at the time down in a bar in East Village. And when we met, I was jumping from sublet to sublet, so I didn't actually have a place to stay at the time. So I was staying at her. We had spent the day together, you know, as most lesbian dates happen, they're like 72 hours long, and we were on one of those. And I was on her bed watching her get dressed, and she had put on a button-up shirt, and she'd grabbed 2 different bow ties. And she was looking in the mirror, trying each one. And I distinctly remember her turning around and asking me which one. And when she asked me which one, I just like saw our life flash before my eyes. I saw like her on our wedding day putting her bow tie on, and like in every other celebratory event or whenever you would wear a bow tie for the rest of our lives, like I just saw it flash before my eyes, and it was like it just hit me. It was like a physical like it's her.
Yeah.
And I just knew in that moment.
I didn't have such a poetic moment like she did, but I mean, I definitely knew from all the time that we spent together to me not wanting her to leave, and we did have to separate, like me calling out of work all the time just so I didn't have to work so we could just hang out and like just be together, to me telling my friends like she's great, I cannot stop thinking about her, I want to spend every moment with her. And then so we met in September, and then that Christmas, like the following December, she was with her family and I was with my family, and it just didn't feel right, you know, like we were FaceTiming all the time, and I was like, I don't want to spend the holiday away from her. And so just all of those things, and I just knew, like, you know, I had been.
But you knew before that, right?
Oh yeah, I knew before that, but it's all of these things, like yeah, of course. And we said that we love each other pretty relatively early on.
Yeah.
And it's so cliche, but like when you know, right?
Yeah.
It's hard to explain, like you did a great job explaining it, but when you know, you know. And there was just something about her, and we were just like, and I had been like in love before, like I had my first girlfriend, you know, head over heels with, but something was different with her. I was like,
yeah, it was just magnetic. Like it just made sense. Like the first night that we spent together, we were awake the entire time, like literally just in bed like this, staring at each other.
It's so gross. It's so gross. It's gross. Like, yeah, we're so in love. And so all of our friends give us so much shit because like we were that gross couple that was just like obsessed with each other.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I love that.
I like to hear true lesbian love on the Shen and Shan Show.
Yeah.
Yes. Alrighty, so now we're gonna start our wrap-up questions. There are 5 questions we're gonna ask you guys,
And we're gonna speed through them. Okay, let's go.
Okay, number 1, what would you say is your best money habit?
Paying off my credit card right after I use it, like on the same day.
Yes. So you
I'm
get
really
the
good.
points.
Yeah.
You don't pay the interest.
Yeah. No.
I am really good about saving. Like as soon as I get a paycheck, I'm really good about taking a chunk of that and putting it into my savings. And I'd say I'm really good at paying bills. Like as soon as I need to do it, like just getting it over with and done.
And our background is financial services, so with that credit card, leave at least a $5 balance on there, okay? Because it's actually, you don't want to pay it off completely, because it actually makes your score go higher if you leave some type of balance.
Makes you look
on
more
it.
responsible.
You just don't want to go over 10% utilization.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I always tell people, because, and also, you know, credit card companies, they'll just close your account because they can sometimes. So sometimes leaving a little tiny bit on there is a good thing. So yeah, but that's awesome. I think that's those are awesome habits. I love that y'all are saving and paying those credit cards off, because that could be a big hole to dig yourself out of if you're, putting everything on credit cards and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. I love that. All right, where do you find your motivation?
My motivation, it depends on like what we're doing. Like I have my own motivation in like my acting world, but for my other world, like where we make money for Hersandhers and all that stuff, my motivation really comes through Hannah, because I can be a little lazy. I'm the first to admit that I can be lazy. I love to be lazy, but she's not necessarily like that. And to see her like going, like getting and wanting to do this and that, like motivates me. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm there with you, So she is my motivation, and she always wants to do better and be more successful and work for herself. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to be the lame duck who like puts, who like is in the background. I'm like, all right, well, let's do it.
Riding the coattails.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that. So
I love it. And what about in the acting world? How do you get motivated there?
In the acting world, it's just something that I want so badly, and I just have such clear visions of myself, like on set, on stage, do whatever it is. And it's also something that I naturally just love and want to do. So it comes a little bit more natural and a little bit easier to just throw myself into that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What about you, Hannah?
Well, the answer that she just gave about acting is exactly what I would say. For our business, I genuinely love it. I genuinely love taking photos and writing, and I do find a lot of my motivation and inspiration comes from other creators on social media, and I draw a lot of inspiration there. But my motivation comes from a clear idea that I have for myself and for our future, and my future is that I know what I want. I know that we want to get engaged, we want to get married, and maybe we'll have kids someday, and I want to get a house, and I want to be able to travel, and all of those are big enough motivators for me to get up and put in the work.
Right.
And I also love a good to-do list.
She loves to check off boxes.
I love to check off boxes. So.
That is awesome. Yeah. I make a lot of lists.
I text myself at night what I need to do, and then sometimes I look at my phone, sometimes I don't. I just go with the flow.
I have a notebook. Like I live with this notebook. This is I obviously when it gets used up, I just write everything in it, from lists to ideas to, when I listen to podcasts or YouTubes or shows, whatever, if something comes to my mind or there's something I want to remember or write down, I'm writing it in my notebook. Like this is that's my thing. So
I get that.
Alrighty, next question. What advice would you give to someone in the LGBTQ plus community that would like to advance in their career or level up in their business?
My advice would be just keep going. You're gonna struggle a lot, and you're not always gonna get it on the first time. Well, you're never really gonna get it on the first time. So you just gotta keep going. It's kind of what I tell myself in acting. It's like, if you put in the work, the legwork, and I already have so many years behind me, like, it's going to happen. You just got to keep going, keep doing it, keep being the best version of yourself that you can be. And I say, don't be afraid to be yourself. Like, people love uniqueness and individuals. And if you're just like everyone else, it's good to stand out. Like, use your differences in a positive way, because it's good to stand out, so you're not like just a run-of-the-mill everyone else. So be yourself, find your quirks, and use them to your advantage.
100%. What about you, Hannah?
I would say somewhat similar to Alia's answers. I would say to work your angles. And what I mean by that is find out what you love to do, find out what you're really good at, and don't be afraid to dive in and do that, because you may love to write poems, and your poems are only true to you, and you have words that no one else has ever written before, and who knows who wants to buy that or publish that or what they want to do with that. And that's just writing that I'm talking about. There's so many other skills and talents that people have, and I think it's super important to, you know, work with what you've got. You know, if you're really good at something, go for it. If you really love something, do something with that, because at the end of the day, we all want to do what we love. And if you can get paid to do that, if you can start a business from doing something that you love, I think that, I mean, that's what we all want.
That's the goal, yeah.
That's the end goal, right?
100%. Do you guys have a favorite book or podcast that you like to listen to?
Yeah, we are big true crime nerds. So we love murder and all that gory like stuff, but true crime. So there's a podcast that we both absolutely love, and we saw them live in Denver 2 years ago called My Favorite Murder. And it's two women who are the hosts, which we always find ourselves naturally drawn towards like more female figures. And they're both just very funny naturally. They have a great banter back and forth, and they read terrible crimes. They talk about killers. We just can't get enough of that stuff. So that's definitely, I think, our favorite podcast. My favorite.
That's awesome. I'm too scared.
Yeah.
I'm scared of everything. I don't watch scary movies, so I can never like even that.
That's a good idea.
I get abused when we watch.
Stay away.
Yeah, stay away.
Alrighty, last question. What do you like to do in your spare time?
Well, actually this year, quarantine has kind of been like an amazing thing for my personal life, as fucked up as that is to say. I have been reading so much, and I'm on like my 5th or 6th book. So I've been reading a lot, which is really great. Oh, you had asked what our favorite book is, and I recently finished The Year of Living Danishly, and it is so good. I recommend it to anyone who hasn't read it. I think it's by Helen Russell, and it's just taught me so much about, like, honestly, how America has so much work to do in terms of like taking care of its people, and how great Denmark is. But more than that, it teaches you so much about like family and like what's important and stuff. And so I love that book. But I've been doing a lot of book reading. We've been doing a lot of cooking and baking, also rollerblading, excuse me, and camping.
I'm waiting for my rollerblades. I've been asking for them since I met her.
Yeah.
Good luck finding some. They're like sold out everywhere. Yeah. Everyone's thinking of rollerblading.
Yes. And bikes. Like you can't find a bike anywhere. I'm just like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
That's
awesome. I love to cook. Yeah, and we cook together. Hannah's a great sous chef, and I could be in the kitchen all the time. You know, put on a good murder podcast. I'm in the kitchen. It's my zone. I love it. I could be in there all day. True.
That's awesome. Love it. Love it. All righty. So lastly, just please tell our audience how to get in touch with you two beautiful, lovely, just working hard for the money.
Yes.
And for our community ladies.
That is like the best. Yeah. I love that. That's so great.
Well, you can always DM us on Instagram. We're at Hersandhers _. Or you can send us an email. We are hersandhersbusiness@gmail.
And you can also you can subscribe and listen to our podcasts. Yeah. They're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, all those platforms. And you can find our podcast Instagram at Hersavive Podcast, and our website, thehersandhers.com,
which is going to get an upgrade soon. So yes, stay tuned for that. But yeah, those are our main places where you can reach us.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And it may take a long time, as you guys know, because you messaged us a while ago, which I'm so grateful that you didn't take it personally. You were like, as soon as we emailed, you're like, yeah, let's do it. But sometimes, you know, a lot of things can get pushed to the bottom, and we try our best to answer people. We don't like to have people just message us and never respond to them. So thank you for your patience, but we will get there. So if you
Yes. So we just want to thank you guys for even, agreeing to even do the show. And we just, again, I can't wait to meet you guys in person. And I feel like I said that to a lot of guests, but
look, our energy is pulling in. We absolutely
yes.
So, I think this has been so much fun.
Yes.
I love you guys already. This might be premature. I love you too.
Yes,
I
we
know.
love you.
Oh my God, we love you guys.
We don't even need to discuss it. We love
No.
Telling someone we love them. I mean,
Yeah.
that should be something natural, man. And I want
Yeah.
that to be more of a thing.
So thank
Yes.
you. We are so grateful.
Yes.
And we'll
Oh,
see you soon, okay?
Absolutely.
Thank you both so much. It was so much fun.
Thank y'all. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Thanks for watching.
Like, subscribe, and share the video to your friends. In the comment section down below, write how good the video was.
And if you're listening to the podcast, make sure to hit a 5-star review.
Bye.